All right, excuse me. I'd like to call to order the Macedonia Planning Commission meeting for September 19th. Here's a roll call.
Mr. Westbrook.
Here.
Mr. Ball.
Here.
Mr. Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Mr. Cox. Here.
We have approval of the August 15th minutes. Do you have any comments? Okay, I think you're absent, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Right. First item. Gateway Plaza. Big monuments. Is there someone here representing that? Go ahead and come on over. Get your name for the record.
Brian Becker from Weather Science.
So tonight you're just proposing changing up that big monument sign.
Change the cabinet, the light masonry, lighting and everything remains the same. We're taking out the 3 dividers and putting in 5 to allow, 10 or 16 on the super side rather than just the one.
Okay. All right. Mr. Francis, comments?
What he said. This one's pretty straightforward. As Mr. Becker said, going from 4 10 panels to 6. The panels will be made of a polycarbonate material. There's no increase or modification to the existing structure. So as such, I recommend the commission consider this for approval.
Updating the 10 logos, current. Just showing.
Guys have any questions or comments? Please raise one.
That's okay.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to be approved.
All right. Motion approved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Very much.
Yeah. Thanks, sir. Next is signage for TJ Maxx. Signs. Be right with you. What's your name for the record?
Yes, Captain Clark, with Ace Fighting.
Okay. I don't know if you want to just give a brief overview, I guess, but posing.
TJ Maxx, actually we revised the plans too. We're removing the column signs that you guys recommended us to do. I have a few copies if you need it. It's the same thing, just the column signs. Can I see? Yes. I brought 3.
So, thank you.
Brian, can you Thank you. Okay, so basically they're proposing a wall sign, bringing TJ Maxx in the front facade with 72 square feet. Looks like allowable is 216. Also, under canopy sign, actually from the front doors there. We're looking at 4.6 square feet on that. And the only other thing that are the 10 panels. This proposed before us. So,
All right. Mr. Prince, you have comments on this?
Well, you made it a lot simpler, I would say. So that was the main issue. My report dated September 5th, the main issue being the two column signs because section 117903C1 would come to play, and that only permits one sign per building wall or frontage. So with that removed, the tenant frontage is 108 feet, which provides 216 square feet of signage. The request then is for 100, well, actually it's for about 153.15 square feet, which is the primary sign. It's less than 216, that's the good news. So this can be approved as submitted in the revision here this evening at the meeting.
70 comments. Thank you.
I don't know if they're gonna be aware of this, but do you know what they plan on doing for starting their exterior renovations on this? Because it was part of the last thing.
I have no idea.
Okay,
With the rest of it.
okay, I kind of figured that would be the case, but
Yeah.
yeah, just, yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so do you guys have any comments or questions?
You know what's, have they submitted their plans for the exterior improvements on for the rest of the building?
No, they have not. Yeah, not as yet. I'm still waiting on plans for TJ Maxx.
Okay. And that would be based on, I think when we approve everything, the rest of the building is supposed to be done at the same time. They would have what's going to.
Right, that's what was approved, yes.
Yeah, it's a
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve based on the plans that were submitted this evening, that removes the two column signs. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just, yeah, the one that breaks that.
Yeah.
Make that back.
That's it.
Next is Wave Car Wash. Someone here from the Wave?
They actually must agree with Brian. They want to be put on the inactive.
Yeah. So, they're requesting, there's a letter, I think, to Susan. It was included in your package.
Oh, okay.
So they've requested to be placed on your inactive agenda. That way they're not formally withdrawn because they're going to seek some variances from the Board of Zoning Appeals. So if the commission by motion would accept their request, you'd place them on the inactive agenda. Susan could just note each agenda accordingly at the bottom of the agenda, last page or whatever, where she does with old items. It was placed on inactive at this meeting at the applicant's request. And so when they go do what they need to do with the Board of Zoning Appeals and come back, assuming they get variances, that they can come back. If they don't, then they'll need to resubmit something new to reflect the code requirements.
Then I'll make a motion to accept the request to be placed on the inactive agenda for Wave Car Wash.
Sign that.
Any discussion? You're good. All in favor? Aye. All right. All right. Next is signage for Target.
I'm moving through these really fast.
We're not messing around with it.
Keep it up.
He may have just jinxed it
Yeah. Yeah.
for the poor lady walking up to the.
Yeah. Do you mind giving us just a brief overview of what?
Sure.
So they're proposing to remove the existing Target sign, the large one with bullseye, with new signage. And then they are adding the drive up and the order pickup to the building.
Mr. France, you can go over your comments.
Sure, my report dated September 4th. As the applicant stated, replacing their existing primary wall sign on the front elevation with a rebranded logo, and then adding what would be considered instructional signage, order pickup, and drive up, and we'll talk about that here momentarily. The approved sign criteria for the crossings at Golden Links, Golden Link Shopping Center treats the allowable square footage through the planning and zoning code. So section 1179-03F2 is what we would look at for that. And it permits 2 square feet of identification signage for each lineal foot of building frontage. In this case, there's 400 feet. So they have a little over 800 feet of sign area that's permissible for the building. The primary wall signs proposed to be about 132.3 square feet, which includes the logo, and I don't believe that's an increase to the current sign area that's up there now. So it's pretty much just swapping out a rebranded sign. No issue there. And no issue there. So really the only issue comes to, as we had heard in a previous case, section 1179-03C1 of the code only permits 1 wall sign per building frontage. So where the issue is, the order pickup sign is about 24.6 square feet. That would normally be an instructional sign, but instructional signs by the code under 1179.058 A through C states that it can't exceed 4 square feet in area. So once it exceeds 4 square feet in area, it's a wall sign, and you can't have more than 1 wall sign on the front building facade in this case. And then the drive-up sign, again, equally 34.3 square feet, so well over the 4 square feet for identification signage, so it's considered a wall sign. And then also it can't possess design characteristics that constitute or serve the purpose of an identification sign. In this instance, the sign, again, being over 4 square feet, also does possess design characteristics that constitute or serve the purpose of an identification sign, in this case, the Target logo. So in order for the proposal to advance, either they have to be revised to be considered instructional signs, both area and in removing the logo, or a variance would have to be petitioned for through the Board of Zoning Appeals to section 1179-03C1 that allows multiple signs on the same building facade.
So they would either have to go smaller on the drive up and remove the logo, and smaller on the pickup in order for that to get approved, or we can come back for a variance to allow, because we have enough square footage in the frontage to be able to have multiple building signs. Is that correct?
Yeah, you have enough area for your entire building that you could do larger signs. You could do more signs on different elevations, but the code prohibits you with multiple signs on the same elevation.
And I know the other side is it's not visible,
Mhm.
so they want to have it on the frontage. So if we were to go to zoning, would I have to come back here then to get it approved with you? Or would we be able to, if zoning approved, then you would approve and I would have to come back?
So that's more of a policy question for the 4 individuals in front of you. They could approve it subject to
Sure.
seeking your variance, and if the variance is confirmed, if the variances are confirmed by the Board of Zoning Appeals, it could be deemed approved, or this board could, if they wanted to see it again, they could continue the case until the BZA takes action.
Yeah.
I would say that it's totally the board's prerogative, the commission's prerogative, but I would not have a problem with it being approved subject to, because we know what it looks like. It's not going to change. It's just whether or not they grant a variance, and you can prove you have a practical difficulty unique to your property
Yeah.
that would justify a variance to allow multiple signs on the same elevation.
So this is rebranded, is they're moving a lot of their drive ups to a different area. So they want to have a sign for where the drive up's going to go and where order pickup is. So that's kind of why they're looking to put those on the front to distinguish where people need to go for drive up and where they need to go for pickup. And I don't see, they don't have another side of the building, but I don't think there's anything on the other side that's gonna show or tell people where to go. So I think that's what, they knew ahead of time that those directional signs weren't gonna be allowed, but they were like, we have enough frontage to put additional signs up. So I guess putting that to you if we would have allowed that.
Do you know what's the difference between drive up and pickup?
So the pickup, there's a different door now that they're doing. Like, I'm very familiar with the one in Menor, and they made a specific area for people to walk in and pick up, so they're not going through the main door. And then they have a drive up where they have the beacons, and then you go through your app and they bring your stuff out to you.
Pickup is you get out of your car.
You get out, yes,
But
and go to a specific area that has all this stuff.
instead of getting general customers.
Yeah, instead of going in, yep,
The
exactly,
drive up is they're just, the curbs that they bring out to you.
correct, yep.
Okay.
So that's kind of why they're
They-
proposing,
they
hey,
get
this is
their-
the area for drive up, this is your area for pickup.
Changes to have.
Do you guys have any thoughts? And
Two things on that spot. So the new sign, they're just swapping out the changing colors, but it's not really white with that white-ish stone background.
It is, it's gonna be all white.
Okay.
So they're just revamping, like some of the targets, they switched from white to red, and some of them were red, and now the cities are making them go to white. So it's just per location, whatever they had, they're just swapping out the same thing with just a new one.
Okay. I was just thinking your white, it's not a white background, but there's not a lot of
Yeah.
contrast there, but maybe there's with weathering. The other thing, I don't even know if this falls under you guys, but that monument sign up at the street.
Mhm. We're switching those panels.
Well, I'm not talking about the panels, but the bricking and all that. Is that
Okay.
anything with you guys? Because it's
No.
dirty and tired. It looks like it's falling apart.
I-
I'd love to see some attention for that, man.
I don't think that has anything to do with us. I think that's gonna be is it Golden Lake?
Yeah.
I think that's on them. I can sure see if I
That's what I
can
figured.
reach
I
out
just
to
wanted
them
say
and
so
see.
it's on record and on the
Right.
video. So,
Yeah,
realize.
Yeah.
I just think it's a power washing.
The picture, I think it looks even worse than what the picture shows.
I hadn't paid attention.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a quick question to the applicant. You stated that they are switching the panels out as well, the tenant panel? Yeah. The way the application reads, it says leave as is, monument meets current brand standards.
Did they?
They may have taken that out
That-
because I originally proposed that to them. They may have come back and said no.
I thought we already approved.
Did they? It wasn't
Yeah.
through us.
Okay.
So they may have done that already.
But it's not part of this application
It's
tonight.
not.
Okay.
It's just part of my book for them of everything that they've done.
And then, Mr. Chairman, if I can add another thing, just when you go for a variance, I think it's something that an applicant should always try to reduce the number of variances needed. I'd encourage you to pass along to your client to eliminate the design characteristic that makes it a sign as opposed to instructional messaging. Yeah, it's totally unnecessary to have the Target logo in drive up, right? We know it's a drive up function and it's for Target. It's attached to an enormous Target building. So it's probably not needed. And you'd eliminate a variance in that instance.
Anybody? I think I'd be okay with, see what they look like. I don't know what it's gonna look like if they were variance. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the plan. Well, yeah, conditionally, if they condition on the BZA granting the sign variance.
That we would have to come back here then.
Is there a second
I'll second. I agree.
discussion? All in favor?
Okay, something else.
Oh,
All in favor, okay.
Aye.
Okay.
So what are the steps that I have to take for the variance?
Call-
Call soon.
Yeah.
Call the office.
She'll get you set up on this.
Yeah.
Question that should be.
It's like, it's always really quick.
For the October meeting is September 23rd.
That should be okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'll get all the detail.
Not saying it's no.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you hold you? I pronounce that Carrie fast. Okay. Hey, Doug. Honoring
Revised. Susan as well. Okay.
Is that something that wasn't originally submitted?
No, we went back and we had our sign painter change it, and my wife forwarded this to you and also copied.
Okay, so can I please? Over to your.
I'm okay, yeah. Yeah, I've seen it over email.
So you've got the main sign above, and then we'll get Mr. Francis comments with the main comments around the windows.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Francis, you want to go over?
Yeah, my report stays September 4th. So the applicant's proposing a wall sign. It's about 16.33 square feet, comprised of individual black dimensional acrylic letters mounted on a white PVC backer. That's similar to all the businesses in that plaza. Section 1179-03F2 provides 2 square feet of identification signage for each lineal foot of building or tenant frontage. In this case, tenant frontage is about 15 feet, providing about 30 square feet of identification signage. The sign is proposed at 16.33 square feet is acceptable under that standard. And then we get into the window signage, 1179.07F4A does have a stipulation that only 25% of the total glass area of the ground floor windows be covered. So in this instance, the applicants provided a revised artwork that shows it's substantially in compliance with that 25%. And so my comment about the window signage in my earlier memo is no longer relevant with the revisions submitted here this evening. And then the final piece of this, then the applicant's proposing erection of a small tenant panel in each of the 2 ground signs that already exist at the property. And those signs are acceptable as presented. And so I would recommend to the commission to approve with the revision submitted this evening in compliance with the 25% limitation.
I got a question. So, and maybe just read to, are these individual letters I put on the window, or is this one big thing that covers the entire?
They're all going to be individual. It's going to be hand painted. It's not better than Alan Gibson from Old Soul Sign Company.
Okay.
And it's going to be painted on the window with the paint and gold leaf.
Just the inside, yeah.
They do it both ways. I believe he's going to be doing it on the inside just to protect the front side of his inheritance himself because it's a double hit.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
If I could just add to that, that's a great question, because the idea is you want to have, if you allow window signage, you want to have ability for vision glass to be able to see through the glass. And so I asked that question when I spoke to your wife, and she indicated the same answer, that while it looks that way, it's just the artist's rendition, but everything that you see that looks sort of brown, that'll all be vision glass that you can see through and see into the tenant space.
I assume it's just like a whole big sticker that gets put on. That sounds like it's how it fits.
So you'll be able to see straight.
Okay. Okay, so we're into that person. You guys got any comments? Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve with the revised window signs submitted this evening.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yes, Planet Fitness is next. Come on down.
Two best class.
Just a second. Strike three.
Anybody gotta go south on 77? Don't go.
Really?
It's bad. Geico had, so it's 2 lanes going south underneath the bridge now, right at the Route 8 split. Geico had 1 lane closed off going south and one of those 2 lanes going north. So it's 1 lane going south and 1 lane going north.
So you had to come from that way?
Yeah.
Surprised you made it.
I am
There's
too.
really been,
I started sweating. I started sweating.
oh, should I give us a brief overview of what you?
Yeah, so this is a larger client of ours. I'm with Archer Sign, based out of Canton. It's one of our larger clients. They're going through a rebranding process right now. This Macedonia location, I believe we did this in 17, I believe was the last time it was done. They're looking to do the same square footage for the channel letters, but they want to increase the size of the logo, which you can see there in the existing conditions versus the proposed. I believe that we're within the allowed square footage. But I think the problem is going to really come down to the monument. I mean, that background's pretty aggressive on those tenant panels. I don't know. You wouldn't be the first group to have a problem with the tenant panel that loud. So, but that's basically what we're looking to do on the channel letter set. What we'll do is Planet Fitness is going to hire a contractor. We're going to remove those channel letters. They're going to come in and they're going to repaint with that existing color. I was going to inquire about a temporary banner just for a quick, probably 2 weeks at the most, while we try and schedule to get back up here to put the new letters up after that patching paint has taken place. And then at that time, we'll do the tenant panels and the channel letters at the same time.
Mr. France, you want to go over your?
Sure. My report dated September 4th. Just to add a few things to what the applicant explained here this evening. So last time was 2017. The best of my knowledge, the signage was approved and there was discussion about the overall height of the sign. And ultimately it was approved at 5.84 feet tall. And to my knowledge, I thought that's how it was constructed. The background color for the panel inserts were originally purple and they were eventually revised to white to comply with the signage requirements for Alexandria Square. So, yeah, so that's why they're, and as the applicant has stated on page 3, the existing condition is the white background and the proposal is the very purple background. And so that's an issue that needs to be discussed tonight. But I think also before we get to that, I have several other questions.
Sure.
So the existing sign contains 2 lines of message with the PF logo above the word planet. The proposed sign is about 6.25 feet tall and the PF logo is situated next to the words Planet Fitness. So the overall height does seem as though it's increased from the 5.84. And then the application states that new signage is of same design and size, but the logo appears to be larger than previous. So that's a question. And then that needs to be confirmed. And then also the height needs to be confirmed. And then finally, the logo now appears to be a vinyl decal. Previously, I thought it was something different, like a raised channel letter type of a logo. And it looks like a vinyl decal now. So just wanted to confirm existing versus what's proposed. And then square footage wise, it's fine. The area that's permitted is about 352 square feet. And the proposed sign's about a little over 160 square feet. So no issue there. But it does get into the height as well as the logo and what exists now and what's being proposed.
Sure.
And in the purple background, according to Exhibit A of Alexandria Square sign criteria, it needs to be a light color and the lettering shall be red. Now, what's proposed is obviously considerably different. And the only one that I note that's doesn't have that background is Subway. That's got a green background. So I'm not sure how that ever was approved or not approved. So the overall height of the existing sign should be the 5.84 feet tall based on the 2017 approval. And then the current proposal exceeds that, but then also we have the issue of what's the logo compared to what it previously was. And then the tenant panel signage being solid purple needs to be addressed.
So the height, was that a condition of the approval? Was that, or that specific?
Yeah, that's my understanding. So I remember we talked about it and the commission determined the overall height of the letters were below the limitation of 4 feet. And it was because they were on, because they were stacked on two lines. And I'm not entirely sure how we got to the 5.84, but that is ultimately what they approved.
Because the criteria limits to what?
The criteria limits it to 48 inches. When the tenant occupies 10,000 square feet or larger, which I think is this in this instance.
So if I may, Planet Fitness, because they make their own channel letters and their own signage, they basically have, 2 or 3 packages that they produce per location. One set is a stacked set, and then with the logo and then without the logo. And then the other set is Planet Fitness with the logo to the side of it. So on the locations that have the smaller entrance, they try and stack those with that logo on the side, which before they put the logo up top, but now they're starting to stack that logo to the side. And on those tenant spaces that have the larger entrance, they do them side by side. So that's why it was proposed this way the last time, and now they're going through that same process again, just changing the sides of the logo. And I should have turned this in. This is their brand book, which shows the options that they essentially have there. So with the smaller one, they have it either stacked without the logo or stacked with the logo. If the logo is too big, they do offer this one, which is about 3.5 feet tall. I don't know that they're going to want to go with that. If whatever the city allows, then obviously have to go back to them. And to answer your final question, or your other question, Brian, about the logo is still a cloud channel letter set. It's not a vinyl that I believe that you had asked about. It's the cloud channel letter.
It's dimensional, it's raised.
Yes.
So here's the issue, it's the overall height of Planet and Fitness being stacked together, right? So
Yeah, it's proposed now at,
And that's, so really, one channel letter set is fitness is 3 feet, planet is 3 feet. The 6.3 is the distance, the 6 feet, 3 inches is those two combined, that height there.
I'm confused. So the current one with the smaller logo on top, we're talking from the very top of the logo to the bottom of the word fitness, that's 5.84 feet.
no,
No.
just from the Planet,
Oh.
top of the Planet, to
To
bottom of the
Fitness.
Fitness. The
Okay,
logo itself is separate. It's just that Planet Fitness piece, but then it looks bigger than.
so I guess I'm confused on the height difference because is the logo not calculated as part of the height difference in the existing sign because it's not above it?
74 feet.
I think what was approved here was 5.84 feet.
Saying one option is that they didn't put up what was approved.
I'm saying what the planning commission approved, to my knowledge, was 5.84 feet.
I'm the slow one here, so I'm gonna say if you're set out loud.
Okay.
Just for the record, I was not employed.
So I'm getting the issue right. So by the sign package, we could only have a 4-foot sign. The height. Because whatever reasons, whatever we had back in 2017, we allowed it to go to 5.04. To me, it seems like if we wanted to go to the, what is it, 7 feet?
6.
Well, it's 6'3" for just the Planet and the Fitness. And if you take from the bottom of
Yeah,
the Fitness piece to the top of here,
there it is.
it's 7'3".
Yeah, that would be like, yeah, that'd be a fair answer. Is that even?
Yeah, so
Get a
the-
variance from a sign package from a.
Yeah, I think, and generally, if you can't get a variance from these, right?
Because
I don't know how,
Yeah.
after left planning commission, I don't know what, where, when, why, but typically you can't, right? Because this is something that the plaza ownership and the city work on, the planning commission approves it, and it's sort of marching orders of how signage works for that retail complex.
So what if I may, what I was going to hope to suggest here, and I kind of had a conversation with the customer about this. I was hoping that we could stick with the stacked, 3 foot, fitness, 3 foot planet, and then reduce that logo to the overall allowed height of 4 feet. And then put that on the side there, next, or on the left, Planet Fitness. 7'3" it's pretty big. So, and that's kind of what they had originally, but that logo up top would just now be on the side there. They won't be able to fit Planet because that entranceway of that tenant space is so small. They're not going to be able to fit those side by side and still, it's going to look real silly.
They just, I guess what you're proposing, it almost looks like they could reuse existing cabinets and do the whole graphic and repaint it, and they just couldn't.
I didn't hear your last
Trying
part.
to figure because if really the Planet Fitness wording is not any different. It's just really, it's essentially going to get kicked over. You're going to put the gear and the logo below next to the Planet Fitness wording.
So I'll read you how the criteria reads. It says all signs shall be a minimum 24 inches and a maximum 36 inches in height. All signs shall be a maximum of 36 inches in height. The sign letters may be on 2 lines, but will not exceed 2/3 of the panel height. Not exceed 2/3 of the panel height. And then in the event that a major retail tenant occupies 10,000 square feet or larger, the maximum sign height shall be 48 inches only if the facade of the proposed elevation is dramatically different than the balance of the building elevations.
Sidewalk size is by any chance?
Oh, so
Definitely probably 2/3, so likewise.
yeah, so that band right there you're looking at is 11 feet high by 25 feet, 6 inches wide.
It's 11 feet high.
So it's like, this look is larger than all, so then it's itself. It's almost. It's the closest lens here, because that's probably, yeah, it's still.
That's the dominant face of the plaza.
So 2/3 is about 7, well, you said it's 11 feet, the
Yeah,
band.
when we surveyed it on the 26th of last month, 11 feet high by 25 feet, 6 inches wide.
And that's the panel height.
It's a panel itself, like this right here is just 11 foot high by.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So 2/3 of that is 7.26 roughly feet
Okay.
tall.
So, which is roughly what the size of the gear logo.
But the problem is the two stacked letters, it sounds like she'll be not a maximum. That's where the problem's probably again. I mean, the overall height, when you count everything all together, is fine. It's the two stacked line signs that are not, because it says a maximum of 40 inches.
Do you have the survey with you, or do you have the existing condition survey?
This was what we surveyed. That's a sketch of the. Are you asking what the existing?
What I wanted to know is the logo. How tall is the logo? Yeah, so it's 42 inches tall.
Yeah, it should say. Right there.
Well, that's a far cry different than 7 feet 3 inches.
Correct, which is correct.
Yeah, so that,
Which is what I told the customer. The customer put this, like, and that's why I said they have their 2 or 3 different sign packages that they want to propose. And I explained to them, look, the logo itself is going to be tough to probably push in this situation. Well, Matt, your job is to represent us. Go ahead and set forth what we've got here, see what they say.
so what? I'm having a hard time reading.
If you can hear that, I can.
What's your, so the letter height is 29 inches. So for 58 inches is the letter height combined.
Combine.
What was that? I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. Yeah, 410. 4.92 feet.
10 inches.
So, and then that still doesn't explain it. I was gonna say, if you add the logo into it, well, listen, I don't know how it got on building this way, so I would say that as it currently is, it's not balanced appropriately compared to what the, right? Because it should be maximum 2/3 of the panel height, the sign. And that's not the sign letters. To me, it's existing conditions may not reflect possibly what was exactly approved. I don't know. But,
Was that gonna open, is that opening up a whole other can of worms here? So
well,
Because I'm planning to take stuff right now.
yeah, I think, I mean, so I feel like what this survey shows is you can't exceed that. And that alone may not be correct, but at least you can't exceed that.
What may not be correct.
So your survey is correct. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
question that. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is that existing conditions likely is not correct compared to what was approved by the commission in
Oh, yeah.
2017.
Yes.
So what I would say is because we're all buddies here, we could maybe say that it's just non-conforming. And this commission could act on something that didn't exceed the non-conformity. Meaning if what's here was presented this evening to reflect this exact condition in terms of height, then they probably would feel okay to maybe approve it subject to. But this is considerably larger than this existing
Yes.
condition. They can't approve this.
Yes, which, and that's what I said before, I told the customer, the chances of, number one, the logo being approved are far cry. I may be able to get the channel letters approved. We're probably gonna have to, at the bare minimum, reduce the logo to at least the 3.5 foot option.
So I don't
So,
think the logo is an issue at all, is it? I mean, other than the fact of what your concern was, the logo,
Well, the logo's 7 feet, 3 inches
I feel
tall.
like that was
I do-
an issue.
I do
when
too.
When it first came in.
okay.
It was a giant logo. And I even feel like the font was like a bigger part of it, like PF was.
It was.
Somebody, who was,
I just remember it being a long discussion.
Yeah, long discussion.
see, I jinxed myself.
That's big. Just fun stuff. So I guess are you saying that maybe the letters as proposed would be smaller than the existing condition? And if the logo was reduced to something.
Well, we know that the existing condition letter height combined stacked on 2 lines is around 4.9-ish feet. And it's being proposed at 6 feet, 3 inches. So even that's and that 3 inches, I'm assuming, is the dead space in between Planet and Fitness would be my assumption.
So these existing letters are, we're proposing channel letters that are roughly 6 inches taller than what exists. And a logo that would be of the same size, but just placed on the side. I mean, if you guys are willing to grant them the ability to have a 7'3" logo, then sure, that'd be great, but I don't think that you guys would be willing to allow that. So then I would tell my customer, we're gonna do the 42-inch logo.
Can I ask another question, Chairman?
Sure, please.
So what is your actual, you say 3 feet for your letter height, but it's not 3 feet. It's less than 3 feet, right? It is because you have incidental letters. You're taking your measurement from the top of the dot of the I and the F down to the very base of the I, F, T, and ESS. So you have incidental letters, and the criteria does recognize incidental letters. So you have some leeway, if you will, with incidental letters. So how tall are your actual letters if you take out the incidental piece of them? So if you were to take off the hook of the F and the dot of the I and the tip of the T, I'm impressed that I did that, and calculated the height of the rest of the letter, how tall is that?
Yes, that's.
Yeah, what's the height of that?
Yeah.
Correct. And then the lower part of the P is incidental. The upper part of the F and the T is incidental. What is that letter height? Because that may substantially change the actual size. And then your logo's got to be reduced. It's.
Brian, to answer your question, I don't have that information.
And that
That is in there.
It's not, I was looking at it, I was trying to even figure out about what it might be, but there's no way to even.
Yeah, that
So-
would substantially, I think, change
I need to.
things.
Just by looking at it and, I'm gonna have to scale it to obviously figure it out. I would say that that's roughly 2 feet, maybe 2 and change. 2 and change.
Yeah, it may be 29 inches. You sure I'm going?
Yes.
It may be your existing condition lettering, but we don't know that. But it very well could be. And then the incidental piece comes into play. And if you reduce the logo height to the existing condition, which is 42 inches, yeah, then you could get your sign approved.
Alright, so if I'm able to, go back and then use my survey, scale the existing conditions, present that to you guys, and then scale these, present that with each logo, would that suffice this group here?
I think this is what we're
Yeah.
looking for.
Okay. Okay, so then what about the two monuments? So,
So for the monument signs,
you guys don't like the hot pad? Oh, man.
I was looking at that and yeah, again, it's like Mr. Prince said, I don't know how the subway got their green
That's fine.
background, another one of those things. I kind of like to keep the white background. I mean, I don't know what we've told advanced auto parts of Fifth Third Bank and all these, that they want something that you had the reverse with the colored background and their letters. I mean, we've kind of stretched the or adjusted some of the rules to allow different colored text because by the original code is red on white, and you know, the choice of red or red on white or white.
Chicken or chips?
Yeah. Cheeseburger.
So look, I mean, this is, and not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
This is designed for one purpose and one purpose only.
Catch your eye.
Yeah, and Todd is a very intelligent man. He understands there's only so much he can get away with on certain situations. So, I was just telling him, like, listen, I mean, if you want a new tenant panel, you know, you can go with the white background with, you know, a new sign with, you know, a little brighter letter, you know, a newer sign's not faded, but they're not gonna let you, you know, adjust the background.
That's kind of, I don't know if you guys feel any different.
I don't know what the condition of the current sign, but it might not even need to change the two monument signs.
Yeah, so basically what they're doing, we have had a couple locations, so the channel letters were the main focus here. So the new channel letters, the old ones had the trim cap, which was the magenta trim cap. These ones are gonna have the returns, which is the side is the same color as it is now, the same color face, but the trim cap is just gonna be the white, which allows it to just, you know, stand out a little bit more, just the definition of the sign. When they go through that, they try and, you know, rebrand as much as they can because they're there at that site at that time. So, they'll probably propose new signage, but I would just tell them, look, on the monument, you're just gonna have to flip the color scheme. You're gonna have to go white with the red, or the pink lettering and no.
And even the logo's probably fine, similar to what they've got right now. I just think the white background with the colored letters and stuff.
That's fine. I assumed as much, and I would think that would look pretty, that would look pretty hideous. Well, I just, for everybody else, that's got signage there, I mean, it would not look very good.
Yeah.
I'm a realist, I get it.
Okay.
If I make those changes then, as well as scaling up the existing letters, provide new drawings with the reduced logo, and for the incidental signage that Brian referred to earlier, acting into the term trail.
I guess, is there I think we all understand the concept. Smaller logo, get the letters to the right size, something that you could, you know, review. If we're okay with the overall size, does it need to come back, do you think?
That's a policy question for
Okay.
you guys. I would say if it doesn't exceed 29 inches, the letter height,
Yeah.
and show graphically the incidentals, show the letter height, preferably to scale.
Yep.
And logo being 42 inches tall to the side as opposed to above, which by the way, I think looks much better. And it's,
Yes, definitely.
and it's three-dimensional. It's a raised
Yep.
as opposed to a vinyl decal.
Yep.
I'm okay re-reviewing that or the building department for compliance.
Temporary banner. Is that even anything under us? Is that on you?
And that'll be, Matt, you want to contact Chris Hall, our zoning inspector? That information.
And then could I see your as-built condition again one more time? Oh, no, the one that you, yeah, your survey as built, yeah. Thanks.
I just walked out of the office with that one too, without that one, without the last minute.
I just got a picture of it, so we have it. We can put it into the record.
Brian, if you want, I can scan in that hard copy and email it.
Yeah, if you want to send it to Susan, yeah. Either way, I have a,
Okay.
we got you on the hook.
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve contingent on administrative review with, understanding the maximum of 29-inch letter height, excluding the incidentals, and a 42-inch three-dimensional logo.
Panels.
Oh, and the panels, with the colored letters of the white background.
I would,
Okay. No, it's just not registered.
I think it does. Do you have any interest in referring back to the 2017 approval of 5.84 feet or leave it at that? It's entirely up to you.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
you referenced it in your letter, didn't you, Rudy?
I did, yeah.
So we can just say. Letter.
Right, and actually don't. Because
So what I'll do, Brian, when I redo these drawings, I'm gonna give you, I'll give you 3 overall heights. I'll give you the incidental, the smaller letter size, the full letter size, and then the combined from bottom to top. Does that make sense?
Sure. I think you're going to give me an overall height, which includes the incidental, and then you're going to block off what the incidental is and then what the standard traditional letter is outside of the incidental.
Yes.
And that's fine. At the end of the day, it's the letter height minus the incidental. It's most
Yes.
important, but
Yes.
it's good to have it all on there. I like that approach.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks.
And you'll
Thanks, guys.
send that to Susan.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Say,
I did, sorry.
when applicants are nice, it's easier to work with them. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just makes, yeah, it makes,
Before we do the last item, Scott brought up that, our approval of our motion at the last meeting for the Goddard School. We motioned to continue the proposal to September meeting. And if no action is occurred by that time, the commission could take it off the continuance of the pilot plan. Is this something we want to do, or you just want to let it sit for another month?
I would, unless the building department advises you that the owner of Goddard, the applicant, said specifically, not his fit of terror, but specifically after the meeting in a letter form that he was removing and I would not do, I would continue it to the next meeting and these folks can confirm what his intent is.
Should we at least say that we'll continue it to the next meeting since we did state that? or-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would recontinue it based on your last motion.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we, continue the Goddard School that was discussed last month to the October agenda.
Second that. All in favor? Aye. City monument signs. He's taking the lead on this. And this is.
I figured.
These are still 3 monument signs. We're not necessarily taking any action on this. It's more of an information and getting everything out there.
Yeah. Yeah, so Chairman, I can speak to it for a moment. So the last 3 items on the agenda here, we wanted to bring to your attention and update planning commission members on.
Fine, he's an applicant. I would push him out to the floor, yeah.
We'll let you sit there.
Yeah.
Should make him
I
stand.
actually did do that one time years ago. I sat in that chair.
Poor Joe waited this whole time to get his chops busted a
by
little
you.
bit.
Thank you.
That was a chairman, actually.
Go ahead.
Yeah, him too. So we want to get you guys updated on what the administration's been doing. And, request any feedback that planning commission members may have. So I'm assuming that you guys have all had a chance to at least take a look at what's in the packet. In summary, there's 3 separate locations where the city plans to install these monument signs. They're brick masonry signs with an electronic signboard at 3 strategic locations around town, and the electronic signboard will display informational messages to residents and passersby instead of the old-fashioned sign like Kevin, you just had up there right there, the old-fashioned.
A little bit of an upgrade.
A little bit of an upgrade. So that's what we're doing. I'm sure you've seen the 3 locations. And we've been working with Bob, and Scott's been helping out as well. And the mayor, of course, is aware of all of this also. So that's what we've got happening. Want to let you guys know that. See if you had any feedback, good, bad, or indifferent.
I said a couple of things, and I'm sure you know this already, and I mentioned about, got a couple of spots, the utility pole to be relocated.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like, I think you're not 100% sure exactly where the sign's going to go, but both those poles, like, pretty major. I mean, it's going to be a significant relocation.
Yeah, so to get you updated there, we've planned for the worst. So there's a couple of locations where we've indicated a utility pole to be relocated, and we've had some preliminary discussions with Brian Pound of First Energy regarding the possible need to relocate the utility poles. So if needed, I think we're prepared to do that. However, and working with Scott and Bob and the mayor as well on exactly where we want to position these signs, there's at least a chance that we can position them in a way in which they can be viewed by all of the vehicles at the intersection that we want to be able to view the sign and miss the pole. So it is possible we won't have to actually relocate any poles if we position these signs correctly. We'll do a little line of sight analysis, of course. So they do have to be relocated. We'll work with First Energy to make that happen. You're right. There's lots of utilities on top of those poles. So yeah, they're not going to move it over. Yeah, they're not going to be out there Monday to move it. So the 3 locations.
And I guess the one at over by McDonald's, that end of Commons. It's like I couldn't really tell how is this looking to integrate with the monument things down there right now.
Yeah, you mean the rounded entrance sign to the shopping center. So that existing rounded blade sign, as sometimes people call it, a blade sign, will get removed as part of this project.
Take it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and what you'll notice is that if you look at it there, there's actually no verbiage on that sign.
Right.
Solid brick wall.
Is there one on the other side of the street there?
There's one,
Like on the
yes.
McDonald's?
On the yes, on the McDonald's side there is, and that one has the stone that says Mass. That one will remain, of course, yes. Yeah, that has the name of the shopping center on it.
Doesn't count. Okay, because I wasn't sure. Looking at that one. The other side thing.
The mayor's name, how is that?
Yeah, yeah.
How easy is it to replace that? Assume at some point we have a new mayor sometime way in the future.
It's a, be able to hear to the that was the one out there. Or whatever, there's like raised there.
What is it? You know what it's about?
So there's actually gonna be two different ones. There's gonna be, it'll be on a panel that would be, it'll be removed from a mayor standpoint. And then they'll, on a couple of the sides, there's actually going to be Macedonia on the two sides, on each side of Commons Plaza. Macedonia would be offset letters individually spell out Macedonia.
Got it. It's something the mayor needs.
Mayor's name would be on a panel that would be.
Yeah.
Spell and the letters.
Yeah, so we're going with this, the next mayor has a really long last name, and if you need to drop it in two rows or something, it works within that.
I guess it's a rule to me.
Probably getting, they'll probably.
Yeah.
Smaller, it'll have to add another.
Got it. But it was still coordinated, there was gonna be space allowed for it, so like an afterthought. I think it's really nice and I'm glad to see that. Can we put one on the south entrance on the Valley Road that you get pushed to improvement or? I'm kidding, so.
Too rural for that kind of.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
All
yeah,
the folks over from Hudson. Going on.
I guess, and I mean, this is a question for you. So what's the city's requirements of meeting their own codes for, their own rules for EMCs? I'm trying to use a sentence.
Yeah, so municipalities are exempt in Ohio under Ohio law from zoning regulations.
Okay.
And so we don't have,
Okay.
yeah, and that's why, quite frankly, we're not asking you for approval, we're asking for input and please give it, right? Things you like, don't like about the sign, but when it's all said and done, there is no approval from the planning commission because municipalities under Ohio law are exempt.
yeah, we're not requesting a motion. Vote.
Yeah.
I just think, because you're reviewing those, knowing that Route 8 is a 50-mile-an-hour sign, I think it's like, 15-inch letters on the sign. You're gonna you get like two rows, like two big words or something. Not anything close to what, just the example about the touch of your own phone speed. But if you don't have to meet your own zoning requirements, I guess, or like one.
And I believe it's the intent to, all the technical specifications of the ordinance. I think it's the intent to substantially comply with those.
It's more just to the additional. All the, as we saw in the one image, all those. Signs and on poles and stuff like that to show up. Different events the city has.
I will say that the city has done an excellent job and gone to great lengths to comply with the regulations, even though they really didn't have to. They didn't have to come to the commission. It's good. I don't see a lot of cities that do that.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, no, we didn't want to leave these folks out of the conversation.
And I think it's a great layout. It's a great idea, all the stuff. I just know that the signs like the rec center, which must have to comply with that because it doesn't come to it. It's got video, it's got action, it's got changing every 10 seconds. It's got small letters and, all these things that are in the sign with environments.
It's a perfect example.
So, but, and no matter, it looks like, I think even, just looking at the electronic signs around town, I don't know if if there's maybe should be some consideration to revising our standards because nobody is following them. We don't seem to mind. I don't see anything crazy going on. Cars aren't flipping over, you know, as they're going down the road because so our sign, you know, mower sale moving from the right side. But I don't think there's an electronic sign in town that meets the requirements because they're relatively strict. You know, there's time to make a display, there's things, the letter size, all these things, and it's all by all these businesses to file. Maybe it's worth going back and revisiting those. Maybe it's loosening up on a little bit so we can give them some freedom to do something so that they can maybe try to follow that and still be in compliance with zoning regulations. But right now, yeah, that's all. Maybe Dunkin' Donuts, maybe close to complying. Center point over there is, you know, it's flagging every second. Just something to think about is kind of be to look back at those requirements. But in terms of this, I think they look really good. And especially, yeah, my biggest problems is like, I just don't see how that wall jives with this thing and it's because it's going to be gone.
Yeah, it checked the red tape should.
It reminded me, so like this one just showed, you know, you can still see the background.
That's on, they're all, they all are. That's an option.
Since we're giving opinions, I'm a fan of relocating to poles. Not trying to make it work. I don't even have a clue what that would cost. I just want to make sure we're gonna put these really nice signs up that the poles aren't gonna be obstructing something and then people are saying, wow, look how silly it looks. They didn't think about the pole that's in front of it.
Because yeah, people will pick it apart.
Well, people are gonna take it apart regardless, but
The handful.
take that one off the list.
But I think Bob had an idea I was talking about it, you know. I think it's gonna go right here, let's put a banner right here.
Yeah, well, and
Everybody can drive
that's-
it.
Yeah, part of that's gonna be part of our line of sight study, yeah.
And you're pretty comfortable with the right of way lines and everything in LA.
So I didn't want to overburden you guys with information, but since the packet's been put together, we do have a survey of all three
Okay.
locations. So obviously we can keep it in the proper location. Long story short, the sign at 882 will fall within our right of way and outside of ODOT's LA. The sign at 8 and Commons will just fall within our right of way. That whole grass area where the
Yeah, just gets closer to go, that's probably LA stuff.
yeah, up the hill is in the LA, the ODOT's LA, but that grass area where our new sign will go is just Macedonia public right of way. So that one falls within our right of way. So that's easy. One at 82 in Commons Boulevard, the right of way is pretty narrow up there. I mean, basically you get the sidewalk and that's it.
Yeah.
So that one will actually land behind the right of way. So the city will have to work with the owner of the shopping center to get an easement to place the sign, which we've already met with Osborne, as the owner, and he's been cooperative, he's on board. I think he's happy to give us.
He's all one for himself, probably not. Trade, put the TV screen somewhere. All right. Well, I think they look really good.
Thank you.
And if you
Thank
use
you.
whatever planting the city's been hanging up all the way down 82,
Use the same.
use the same stuff here, man, those are ridiculously huge and beautiful. I mean, I don't know what the heck they did, what they put in the dirt in there. But man, these places.
Extra fertilizer in the watering. They do.
Yeah.
Let's drive by 5 in the morning. It's up that way.
Yeah.
Oh, really? It's just something to put on top.
It's a difference.
So it's kind of part of the overall plan. It also becomes kind of a.
When do you think this will be done?
Too soon.
Yeah, next week. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, we wanted to meet with you guys and, you know, judging by the feedback here, it's all positive stuff. So I think we're gonna, you know, continue to move forward here as fast as we can. Of course, there's a process, you know, we gotta finalize some plans, we have to acquire some quotes. Like contractors schedule to put it all together, got to get the signboard, the electronic signboards in.
Probably.
Potential potential utility pole relocation, that takes a while, so there's a lot of steps to fall into place, so. Negative on the signs or the schedule?
Signs.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
No, blinky little lights on the side of the roadway, it's nothing close to the Western Reserve where you try to be. I can see doing one for city purposes, informational purposes, like a signboard.
Hmm.
But they're not going in the corners of the city. Not really identifying the city borders. That's one thing.
I hear you.
Yeah, there are other signs in this entire package. It's actually pretty extensive, right, Scott? I mean, you guys put it together.
This is just the first thing the mayor
Mhm.
had identified as wanting to do.
Yeah.
There are other ones that would just be, they take an element of the ones that are in this package. That, as well. They take an element that would be placed around the city that would just be a single
Column.
column.
Like the entrance.
This city border and then the areas and stuff like that. There's two different sizes proposed.
So it's like the white.
They would, that was the, that's what. Why was the giver, white folks that are falling over. So,
Nothing blinking out was that.
no, that's correct.
I'm sure the dances.
Well, thanks for bringing it. Feel free to give us an update,
Yeah.
just for information.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated as we go along.
All right. Anything else, administration? Guys, anything, all right? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.